Hey, how's it going, YouTube? How y'all doing today? This morning, I got as much information as I could about this whole El Nino thing going on in a couple months. They were saying that there's like a 60 to 80% chance of it happening by about May through July. So there's an 80% chance of it starting around that time period. 60 to 80% chance. And from what I understand, El Nino is supposed to make things wetter here in this area. I live in Central Texas. I live just east of Central Texas, and so it's supposed to make it's supposed to make the weather a little bit warmer this summer, and it's supposed to make things a little bit wetter this summer too. I was eating a piece of candy and I just realized it's still in my mouth. I didn't realize that until but yep. It's a little piece of ginger candy and it's stuck to the roof of my mouth. But let me see if I can just swallow this real quick. Okay, I'm good to go. But yep, I was reading everything that I could about El Nino this morning. I read all sorts of stuff about it. Like I read that El Nino was first discovered a long time ago by South American fishermen, and they named it El Nino because when they figured out what was happening, they just named it after baby Jesus, and they just called it El Nino. And so but this is a weather phenomenon that's been happening for a long time, and it's supposed to start here in about in a couple months. So my plan with it right now, well, it's we're supposed to be getting a lot of rain here this week. It's supposed to start picking up rain in about tomorrow, or we're supposed to get 3-4 days of rain this week. And so the ground looks like it's just dry enough for me to be able to go over it with my tractor right now. And so later when I get back home from work, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put fertilizer on this grass one more time, because this grass needs fertilizer, and there's gonna be a lot of moisture in the soil, so it'll be able to the grass will function properly with the fertilizer will have a net positive result with and so yep, I'm gonna get fertilizer put on this grass one more time. I'm gonna just put 500 more pounds on it, and I'm gonna keep a good eye on these animals for bloating. And if they start bloating on it, I'll just give them a bloat guard block again. But I'm gonna get that fertilizer put on this field. Right now it's go time. These animals have been on this grain diet for about a week now. They've been on this grain diet for about a week, and I can already tell that they're starting to plump up a bit. They're already starting to plump up a bit. These animals, well, if they had access to that front field, they would have a whole lot more food. But they don't have access to that front field right now. So I'm giving them grain, but I'm also giving them a little bit of extra grain. If there is a real hot kind of wet summer, I mean, unless it's just ballistically hot, I would think that hay is going to do extremely well this year. And so I think that the price of hay is going to drop. And so I'm keeping an eye on markets right now. I need to keep a close eye on hay markets right now, because if the price of hay starts dropping and the weather is looking like I may even get 4 cuttings of hay this year, then well, I ain't gonna sell the hay. I'm just gonna feed it to the animals. And I have plenty of income left over from the tax deductions last year, so I'll just bring in more grain. Oh, my water trough is overflowing. Give me a second. But yep. But if I get if there is if it is starting to look like, if at any point in this year it looks like I'm gonna get 4 cuttings of hay, I ain't gonna sell that hay, because the hay is probably gonna drop in price. And well, I was taking a look at market opportunities right now in cattle, and just taking a look at broader markets around here, and I found a brick and mortar sale barn where I can go and buy calves at the calves that I'm looking for. And the calves that I'm looking for, if I could get animals that look like this right here, if I could get them all to look like this right here, and I bring in a whole bunch of them, I would be doing very well. But if I'm gonna bring in animals like this, I'm gonna be paying a lot of money. People, a 600-pound calf like this can go up to like $1,200. Like $1,000 to $1,200. And so, well, I found a market where I can find animals. Number one steers is what they call them. And well, this is a pretty good looking heifer right here too. But okay, so I found a few market opportunities in terms of where am I going to accumulate, where am I going to buy cattle, as well as where am I going to sell them, where am I going to have this thing go full circle. And if I'm willing to drive 2 hours, I can go to a preconditioned calf sale out in East Texas, or I can go to Northeast Texas to a preconditioned calf sale, and I can buy a lot of number one steers or number one heifers. At these preconditioned sales, they'll actually have these cattle graded. They'll have the cattle graded. They'll say number one or number 1.5 or whatever, and that a number one animal is an animal with features that the animal's gonna be large. If the animal has features that are just signaling that the animal is gonna be large, it's a number one animal. It's gonna produce a lot of meat. And so I can actually go to a market where they have people grade cattle and then they sell the cattle, and it's a preconditioned calf sale or preconditioned cattle sale market. And I was taking a look at broader markets, just kind of taking a look at a variety of markets, and I looked at 2 or 3 of them. And from what I saw in these markets, a 3.5 weight calf generally goes for about well, this is numbers from well, it is pretty recent numbers. It's from about a month or 2 ago. But a 2.5 weight, a 3.5 weight to 4.5 weight calf will sell for about $2 to $2.50 per hundredweight, all the way up to the highest was like $2.75. And so that means for a 300-pound animal, I'd be paying about $900. So for a small animal, I'd be paying about $900 for a good one. Like if I was gonna buy all of them that look like that black-hided commercial bull, for a small, about 350-pound animal, I'd be paying about $900. But I was taking a look at the cattle at that sale barn, and I was taking a look at the market in its totality. And so the plan that I came up with for this year in terms of how am I going to purchase enough cattle to deduct my taxes, as well as where am I going to put these cattle in terms of marketing them for sale, I'm going to buy them from the preconditioned calf sale barn or cattle sale barn, preconditioned cattle sale barn, and then I'm going to sell them again at that preconditioned cattle sale barn at a different date, at a later date. And so the idea is, well, I took a look at the number spreads, and I'll have to make a budget and see if it makes sense. But a lot of about 25 number one steers can go anywhere from a lot of cattle, about 25 to 35 of them in one lot. Those animals, they can go anywhere from about $2 to about $2.50 per hundredweight. And so at about 350 to 450 pounds, 3.5 to 4.5 weight. And I was taking a look at the numbers, and when they get up to about 7.5 to 8.5 weight, the price on them drops to about $1.70 to $1.90. And so the spread is good enough, I believe, for me to be able to make a profit. And because, well, I mean, if I put 350 pounds on if I put 400 pounds on an animal, and I take them back to the market, and they give me even 50 cents less per hundredweight, I'd still be sitting on a lot of money. I mean, it would still be a lot of money. And so there is a possibility of hay prices. There is a pretty high possibility of hay prices dropping this year. But if hay prices drop this year, it would be because if the weather pattern creates a situation where we get where there is a possibility of getting 4 cuttings of hay, there will be a lot of animal feed. The grass will be growing extremely well, and so I can feed that hay instead of selling cheap hay. I can sell that hay and I can feed that hay to the cattle and just put weight on the cattle and then sell the cattle at a future date. And so I'm keeping my eyes on the market. And also I think one thing to look out for potentially by next year is the price of corn dropping. If the price of corn drops, these heavier cattle are usually, when the price of corn drops, the heavier cattle do better, because like the 7.5 weight cattle, the 8.5 weight cattle, they tend to do better when the price of corn drops. And so if the price of corn starts dropping, which I would say, well, it's still too early to say, because there's a lot of things that could happen this year. El Nino is supposed to make the south the south wetter and hotter, but it's supposed to make the north drier and cooler, from my understanding. And so I'll have to see what happens with the price of corn. But if the price of corn starts dropping, that's a good indicator to me that I should start putting together, or I should start getting my cattle heavy so I can take them to the market. But these cattle have been on a bit of an extra grain in their diet for about a week now, and I'm already starting to see them kind of putting on a little bit more heft. But right now, the real heavy, the 7.5, 8.5 weight cattle, they're not doing tremendously well in the market. The little peewee calves are doing tremendously well in the market. At these preconditioned calf sales, these peewee calves are doing the best. There is a large spread between the peewee calves and the heavyweight cattle, but I believe that spread will shrink when the price of corn begins to drop. And I would anticipate, I would say logically, unless something real drastic happens, I would anticipate that corn prices start dropping by next year. And these animals, well, yeah, but I gotta take these animals to market in 3 months. So the name of the game right now is to put as much weight as I can on them in 3 months. Like look at this heifer. This heifer looks good right here. If I got a bunch of heifers that look like this at a sale barn, I wouldn't even mind. If heifers are much cheaper right now, and eventually we're gonna get to a point where people are retaining heifers because the calf inventory is so low, and heifer prices are probably gonna do pretty good. But heifers, their price per 100 usually tends to hold a bit more steady. Even if they're lower, they tend to hold more steady across the higher weights. But if I got heifers that look like this if I had heifers with a structure like this, a body structure like this at 3.5 weight, I would be a happy camper, and I could pay less money for them. But I'd probably get less money for them when they were bigger too. And but this is a very good looking animal right here. This is a very good looking heifer. This is a very good looking steer right here. These red steers right here that I got them from one farm. I got 4 of them from one farm. They're good looking animals too. But yep, that's one thing that I realized. I gotta get myself some like, this is a real mixed batch of animals. Like, I got an animal in here that if I sold him, I'd probably get like $1,100 for him. But I got animals in here that if I sold them, you know, I'd probably only get like $700-800. Some of my real quality animals right now, they are, with the cattle markets being where they are extremely expensive. And so some of my this Brahmin influenced animal probably not going to bring in a whole lot of money. But I got animals in here that are probably going to bring in a lot of money. Like that Charolais, that white heifer back there, she's probably going to bring in a lot of money too. And I got this steer right here. He grows real good too. I'm probably going to get a good bit of money on him. And so I got a real mixed batch of animals. But next time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the preconditioned calf sale, and I'm going to pick out one lot of animals that are just nearly identical. They all came from one farm, and they're all essentially calves of one farm, and I'm gonna bring them in. I'm gonna raise them, and then in the next year I'm gonna sell them at the same sale barn. So that's what I'm gonna do in terms of marketing for the animals, and that'll give me a well, you know, if I can just take the animals, if I can bring them in from a brick and mortar sale barn as well as take them to a brick and mortar sale barn to sell them, it just it saves me a lot of fiddle farting around. Like, I don't have to go to the internet auction. I don't have to worry about trucking in animals from 5 hours away. I don't have to do any of that. I can just go and I can buy a group of #1 steers or #1 heifers, and I can just, you know, buy 1 lot of animals or 2 lot of animals, and buy 2 lot of animals worth $35,000 each. Just put the $70,000 in right there at the sale barn, and then just bring my animals home and just call it a day. And that'll also save me a lot of time from having to drive around constantly to different sale barns to put animals together like I did for this right here. So that'll let me max out my credit lines. And if I get that $75,000 loan for a 20 year term on a 5% interest, I'll just pay the $500 a month for the $75,000 loan, and then I'll bring in the animals and I can raise them. And if the price of corn starts dropping next year and I have 7 to 8 weight cattle, I'll make a lot of money. I'll make a lot of money. I don't even know. I'd have to sit down and pencil it out, but it would be a tremendous sum of money. Like, I wouldn't be talking about a $75,000 credit line next year. I'd be talking about, it'd be a 6-figure credit line. But that's the big things going on right now is I'm looking out for El Nino. El Nino is going to do a lot in terms of weather conditions here in Central Texas. And if it looks like I'm going to get 4 cuttings of hay, I'm going to get the 4 cuttings of hay, and I'm going to keep the hay, and I'm going to feed it to the cattle. And I'm going to buy the grain as a tax deduction from the income that I already have this year because I deducted it last year. But if hay prices hold high, I'm going to sell the hay and buy grain. There may be a little bit of time for me to sell hay for a good price, but I'll have to see. People are already cutting rye and oats this year, because usually around this year people are complaining, or a lot of people are upset because the ryegrass and the oats are going to seed because it's too wet and they can't cut into anything and they can't bale anything. But this year it's been real dry this April. We've just had a real dry, real mild April. And so people are cutting their oats and people are cutting their ryegrass, and the price of hay is already dropping. Like, I can go out and I can actually buy hay. I can buy a real quality hay for about $100 a bale right now in this area. And so the price of hay is already dropping, and if it continues to drop, and if we get 4 cuttings of hay this year, or if it's looking like my area is going to get 4 cuttings of hay this year, I ain't going to sell the hay. I'm just going to keep the hay. And if it looks like the price of corn is going to drop next year, I'm gonna bring in some 3.5 weight cattle in October this year, and I'm gonna feed them to a real heavy weight, and then I'm gonna sell them when they get to about the 7-8 weight next year when the price of corn is dropping, and that'll make me a lot of money. But yep, I got a lot going on right now. But that's the general idea of the plan that I got going right now. But that's it for me today, YouTube. Y'all have a good one.